This is Raythe from Raythe Reign. I'm an author of serialized gay romance fiction. Every week on this podcast, I'll be reading a chapter from one of my gay fantasy shifter serials called Dragon's Reign. I'll explain at the break how you can find out more about this story and others I write. So let's get to it. Chapter 117. Separation Anxiety. "Can I save Iolaire on my own?" Caden asked Raziel, ready to fly to the crater, even as he remembered how the werewolf had hurt him relatively easily. What could the Behemoth do? But Caden thrust that thought out of his mind. He would not allow fear to paralyze him. Besides, nothing could be worse than losing Iolaire to the Behemoth and then Raziel to it too. Not to mention Valerius, and then the world. Oh God, there has to be a way. "Raziel, tell me what to do and I'll do it," Caden begged. "If there's anything I can do to save Iolaire." The black dragon's eyes closed. "No, there's not, little dragon. You cannot defeat it. You will be destroyed if you try." Caden's arms that were still fastened around Raziel's nose grew numb. His whole body was numb. This couldn't be how things ended. No way, no how, and yet... "But if you can't leave here, and I can't save Iolaire without you, then what do we do?" Caden asked, despair imprinted into every word. Raziel, though, did not answer. Because there was no answer, Caden realized. Not one that the black dragon saw. The numbness spread. With a slightly hysterical laugh, Caden asked, "Can we get the Behemoth over here? Fight it in your lair?" "It would not fit," Raziel stated simply as it looked over its shoulder to where its big body almost touched the roof and the ground. "And it will not come close enough for me to grab it, even if you could lure it here." Caden had, in fact, been considering that very idea. He had imagined flying over the crater, taunting the Behemoth and chasing him back here, or Raziel could take care of it. "I can fly. I could lead it here. We have to try," Caden insisted. Did Raziel really think he would sit here and do nothing while Iolaire was absorbed into the Behemoth? "The Behemoth would destroy you with a single bolt of lightning or a fireball," Raziel said almost wearily. "You do not have the white dragon spirit's protection. Though your bond is not yet severed, it is tenuous." Caden swallowed bile that bubbled up in his throat and into his mouth. Even though he did not have a stomach, he wanted to retch. The very thought of being cut off from Iolaire forever. He felt dizzy, so sick. He clutched at Raziel to keep himself airborne. "This can't be how it ends, Raziel," Caden whispered. "What ends? Can we not get back to Earth here?" Jasper asked. The leader of Humans First pulled himself up onto the ledge outside of the lair. Caden, who was still holding onto Raziel's nose, was nearly flung away as the black dragon snapped its head towards the unfamiliar voice. Caden somehow managed to dig his fingernails around some of the scales and just managed to hold on for dear life. The shock of Raziel's action, though, shook him out of that numb, despairing state. Jasper was a problem he could focus on and fix. "Who is this?" Raziel hissed as its lips writhed back from those sword-like teeth. Jasper's eyes bugged out of his head as soon as the black dragon set its sights on him. He stepped back, but his heel touched air. He nearly fell back, but pinwheeled his arms at the last moment and managed to stay on the ledge, but just barely. The black dragon made a low, guttural sound in his throat like a giant ticking, the very beginnings of a roar that would likely crush Jasper's bones and organs like jelly before sending his ruined body flying off the mountain. "Caden, call it off, for God's sakes, it's gonna kill me!" Jasper screamed as he edged himself towards the mountain's wall. "Raziel, don't kill him. Not yet, anyways," Caden said. "Raziel's got to get in line. We all want to kill Jasper." Landry's voice rose up as she crawled up onto the ledge and rolled over onto her back. She breathed deeply. "I didn't realize how afraid of heights I really am." "Landry!" Caden gave Raziel's nose another hug before he flew over to her, landing beside her before dropping down onto his haunches. "Are you okay?" "My life flashed before my eyes like umpteen times," she told him, "and there wasn't a lot of it. So if we get out of here..." "When?" he corrected her, even as his own heart was in his feet at what Raziel had said. "When we get out of here, I really want us to do more things than argue philosophy with Wally all day. Don't get me wrong, she said, I love doing that, but I'd like to make some memories with you guys outside of the shop. You never really wanted to hang outside of the shop before, Caden said softly. She moved her bangs out of her eyes. Did I tell you how stupid I was before all of this? Not stupid. He gave her a watery smile. Not stupid at all. Well, I disagree, but I won't argue with you. Give me a hand up? She asked. Caden helped her up to her feet. Her legs wobbled a little beneath her. She reached down and rubbed them. I know we don't have bodies, but do you think all this exercise will have an effect on my thighs? She asked hopefully. Caden snorted and patted her back. Help us up, Landry, Ross called. Holy shit, my arms are giving out, Harvey whined. No bodies, remember, you idiots? Landry rolled her eyes, but both she and Caden went over to give her brothers a hand up onto the ledge. Once they were safe, Caden turned back around to face the black dragon. Raziel regarded these human spirits with a wary eye. Landry gulped, while Ross and Harvey cringed as they really saw Raziel then. Friends of ours, dragon? Raziel asked. Raziel saying of ours instead of just Caden's had Caden's heart squeezing a little. How far Raziel had come in such a short time. The misanthropic dragon still looked like it wanted to blow the humans off the ledge or turn them into charcoal briquettes in the case of Jasper, but it was not doing any of that. But it will all end once the Behemoth absorbs Iolaire and then Raziel. All of it will end, Caden thought. But Caden forced himself to speak and said, well, these three are. He's, Caden gave Jasper, who was now pressed against the mountain, trying to meld into the rock, a jaundiced look. He's someone we should bring back to Earth so he can be tried, convicted, and sent to prison. I see. That sounds like an awfully long process. I could reduce him to ashes quicker, Raziel remarked as he regarded the leader of Humans First. Well, what's it saying? It wants to kill me. I know it, Jasper cried. If you don't want it to kill you, then shouldn't you be worshipping it, Jasper? Landry suggested with a small smile as she put her hands on her hips. Jasper shot her a horrified look. What? Raziel is the king of kings, Caden said, realizing where Landry was going with this and way on board with making Jasper kneel. But I think you should be getting down on your knees, Jasper, Landry said, gesturing to the ground, and begging for forgiveness. Jasper looked like he would rather eat glass than kneel, but the leader of Humans First slowly lowered himself to the ground, regarding the black dragon warily. Even he knew that his philosophy would not save him from hellfire. You better not tell anyone about this, Jasper growled. Oh, you are going to tell everyone about this, Jasper, Caden retorted. He pointed at the man's chest, because right here and right now, you're going to pledge on your life that you will serve Valerius and Raziel from now on. You will disband Humans First, and you will spend whatever time you have left trying to undo the damage you've done. Jasper's eyes narrowed, but he nodded and opened his mouth about to speak, but Caden cut him off. This was too easy. Jasper thought he could play everyone, that he could hold two disparate things in his mind at the same time, still being the leader of Humans First, and pledging his allegiance to Raziel too. Well, Caden was not about to let that happen. Oh, and Jasper, don't think that you can say one thing here and do something else when we're back on Earth. Caden leaned against the side of Raziel's huge jaws as the black dragon lowered its head to give Jasper an evil stare, because Raziel here will have one free burn you to a crisp ticket if you do. Jasper met his eyes, trying to see if Caden was lying. Caden made his gaze steel and stone. He was not joking. Jasper would not be allowed to continue his damage. Seeing he meant it, Jasper kneeled down awkwardly. The black dragon's breath blew his hair back from his forehead. Smoky tendrils surrounded the leader of Humans First. Former leader. Jasper trembled as he gritted out, I pledge that I now serve Raziel. No, serve Raziel and Valerius. King Valerius, Caden corrected as he crossed his arms over his chest. And King Caden Iolaire too, Landry piped in. Jasper grimaced but amended, I pledge that I now serve Raziel, King Valerius, Iolaire, and King Caden from here on out. I abdicate my position as leader of Humans First. I will do whatever is necessary to undo the damage my words and actions have caused as its leader. Satisfied? Not really, but it will do for now, and it's binding, Jasper, Caden reminded him. He turned to Raziel. Good enough? He is foolish meat. I care not for his worship, but I do enjoy his discomfort, Raziel admitted. Now, if there was only a way to save Iolaire, that was just as easy, Caden said, feeling the fear for Iolaire overwhelm him again. There must be a way. What's going on? Can't we go back? Landry asked. I can send these humans back, but not you, Caden, Raziel said. Your bond with Iolaire would be severed. Then send them back. I'll stay here and we'll figure something out. Wait, you'll stay here? No, that's not happening. We're all going together, Landry cried. Speak for yourself. I want to go back. If Caden doesn't, then that's his choice, Jasper said, eyes alighting with eagerness at the thought of returning to Earth. We're not leaving without Caden, Landry snapped at him. Ross, Harvey, what do you guys think? Want to go home where we'll be safe or stay here? Jasper challenged. Will so help me God if you take Jasper's side again, Landry began. But Ross said, we'll stay here with our sister and Caden. She's right. We leave all together, not at all. What? That's insane, and shut up, Jasper, Harvey glowered at him. He was big and he hulked over Jasper. Jasper actually took a step back. No more talking. You agreed to not be a leader anymore. You were supposed to follow Caden. Jasper shook his head at the stupidity of the two brothers. Landry, you should go now. I'm not sure if there will be a chance later, Caden said. But she was shaking her head. Why are you staying here then? He gritted his teeth before saying, Iolaire's in trouble. I think it's in the crater with the Behemoth. The Behemoth is going to absorb it. If I leave the spirit realm now, then my link with Iolaire will break, and really there won't be any safe place after that. Did you know that you can get some of my gay romance books for free? Every month, I have at least one book free to download, right from Amazon, so you can easily read it on any device. But these books can only be free for 5 days at a time. If you don't want to miss out, just sign up for my mailing list, and I'll send you an email whenever there's a free book available. The link to the sign-up form is in the description down below. That was the truth, he realized. Even if he sent them all back to Earth, it was just delaying the inevitable. Once Iolaire was absorbed, then it would be Raziel's turn, and then the other dragons would fall one by one before the Behemoth turned the world into a graveyard. In a way, they were actually safer here until the end. The Behemoth is nearby? Jasper had turned white as chalk and had backed up against the mountainside again. Where is it? Where? Ross's head jerked up skywards as he looked for the Behemoth and the clouds above them, even though Caden had said it was in the crater. Harvey had his arms over his head as if to protect himself from a blow, though, if the Behemoth attacked. He'd simply be made into paste and smeared across the mountainside. Landry looked a little unsteady on her legs. Her eyes were wide and her lips parted. Can Raziel defeat the Behemoth? She asked. Yeah, but Raziel can't leave the lair without putting Valerius in danger. The lair is their bond. I'm guessing if Raziel leaves it, then the protection it gives Valerius is attenuated at best, or maybe even gone until Raziel returns, Caden explained. But if Valerius is somewhere safe, like tucked up in high reach, what does that matter? Landry asked. Raziel goes, smashes the Behemoth, saves Iolaire, and then we all go home. Caden turned to look at the black dragon. Landry's plan sounded good. Okay, maybe it didn't sound good, but it did sound possible. And really, wasn't that what they needed right now? But maybe there was something he didn't know. Well, could we do that? Caden asked the black dragon. Can you tell Valerius to get someplace safe and then he is already in danger? Vozith is mere feet from him, Raziel growled. Vozith? Who? Vozith, the red dragon, mistress of plasma, Raziel explained. Valerius has only Mephis to protect him, and that is not enough. Wait, Valerius and Larian are together? Well, that's good. Mephis is not strong enough. Raziel tossed its head, but instead of taking that as a statement of fact, Caden wondered if it was still Raziel holding onto old hurts regarding the green dragon. But Raziel, if we don't save Iolaire and it is taken over by the Behemoth, then Caden couldn't say the words himself. Then I will fall, Raziel admitted, and its massive head drooped. Caden dug his fingernails into his palms. The last thing he wanted to do was to leave Valerius defenseless when facing another dragon. But Mephis was there. Mephis was the second strongest under Valerius. Mephis could defeat this other dragon and keep Valerius safe, couldn't it? Raziel, I'd rather die than put Valerius in danger, Caden said quietly. But with every ounce of his love for the Black Dragon King in his voice, he added, but the only way to save him is to do just that. So I want you to ask him if you can leave the lair. The Black Dragon's eyes widened in terror. He will be alone. I know. But imagine what will happen if the Behemoth does to you and him what it has done to me and Iolaire, Caden pressed. Then there will be no one strong enough to stop the Behemoth, and we'll be parted from you and Iolaire forever. The Black Dragon's head rose, and it tipped its mouth skyward before letting out a roar of rage and pain. The mountain shook. Caden grabbed a hold of Landry to stop her from being vibrated right off the ledge. Her brothers hit the deck. Jasper was suction cupped to the mountain's side. Raziel? Valerius's voice, soft but definitely his, came out of the lair. Raziel, what's wrong? Speak to me. Valerius! Valerius, can you hear me? Caden cried, shocked to hear the Black Dragon King's voice. But Raziel's massive cry must have reached Valerius in the real world. Caden did not think then. He ran into the opening for the lair, underneath Raziel's belly, and into the cavern that he already knew so well. Inside the huge rocky space there was a mirror, much like the one in Valerius's throne room, except this one was floating and made up of hexagonal sections of reflective glass that shifted as if caught in invisible breezes. In the mirror, he could see Valerius and Ilarion in a dimly lit tunnel. Beyond them was a huge pool where something moved. Neither of the two dragon shifters were looking at him. Even as Caden jumped up and down, the mirror was not there for Valerius. Instead, the Black Dragon King's gaze went distant as he looked inside himself, or maybe through the veil to the place in the spirit realm. He smiled suddenly, and Caden knew Valerius saw him. Caden? Caden? Oh, thank the gods! Valerius shouted with utter joy, but joy turned to confusion. How are you there in the lair with Raziel? And is that Landry? Wait, is that Jasper? And Landry's brothers with you? The others had run after him, whether because they had heard Valerius's voice too, unlikely, or because they didn't want to be anywhere near Raziel without Caden. More likely, he didn't know. But they all stared around the lair and then back towards the mirror. Raziel too had come back inside. The ground shook with every step it took. Long story, Caden told him, but simply put, the Behemoth has taken Iolaire and has it in the crater where the dragons fought it before. The only way to save Iolaire is for Raziel to leave the lair and defeat the Behemoth. Then what are you waiting for? Go! Valerius frowned and spoke to his spirit. Raziel, go! Defeat that beast! But when Raziel did not move, he asked, why do you hesitate? Because if I leave, you can die, Raziel cried and flapped its enormous wings, causing everyone to dive to the ground and cover their heads. You will not have my strength, none of our powers, and you can be killed. Valerius frowned. I see, but that does not matter. He shook himself. We must save Iolaire and Caden at all costs, even if I am— No! I cannot be without you! Do not make me be without you! Raziel cried with more wing flaps that caused huge slabs of stone to crumble off the walls and strike the floor. Caden curled over Landry to keep her safe from the stones. Small ones hit his back and shoulders. He would have had them seek cover underneath Raziel, but the Black Dragon seemed to have forgotten them and was quite capable of stomping them to death beneath its clawed feet. You will not be. As soon as you save Iolaire and Caden, you will return to me, Valerius insisted. Calm yourself. But, old friend, you must do this. We cannot be without them, Valerius told the Black Dragon spirit. He seemed completely at peace with this. There was no fear in Valerius, only what made up his name, valor. Caden's throat went tight. Valerius was the bravest person he knew. Raziel trembled as it regarded Caden, and then Valerius with those crimson eyes. Caden reached over and touched Raziel's chest. He could feel the heat and the mighty heart inside. I know we're asking you the impossible, Raziel, Caden admitted. I can't live without Valerius either, but none of us can live without Iolaire. I am not afraid, old friend, Valerius said to his spirit. There is no greater dragon spirit than you. The behemoth will fall before you." Raziel went very still, but then it slowly folded its wings and sat up straight. It finally gave its single, slow nod and said in a voice filled with finality, "It will be done." "Valerius, you and Iolaire should head out of there. Go someplace safe," Caden said, coughing in between words due to all the stone dust in the air. "We cannot, Caden," Valerius said grimly. "We're tracking your body. I fear if we do not retrieve it soon, that you will have nowhere to return to." It was Caden's turn to gulp. He wasn't sure if the behemoth needed his body after he absorbed Iolaire again. Maybe anyone could host the white dragon spirit after that. He could easily see the behemoth killing his body out of spite. "You must let Iolaire take the lead then," Caden implored him. "No heroics. Mephis must protect you both against Valerius, the ruby dragon. It uses plasma." "Plasma? Interesting." Valerius's eyebrows rose. "Valerius, what is wrong with you?" Larian growled, elbowing him. "I need you to be present. We have a dragon to deal with." Valerius focused on the green dragon king. "I am about to lose the ability to shift. Actually, more than that. Raziel must fight the behemoth, so must leave me. I will be human again. But we must continue on to get Caden's body." "What? What now?" Ilarion looked more than a little alarmed. Valerius thumped his left shoulder. "You have been telling me for centuries how strong you are, how you don't need me or Raziel to back you up. Now, I need you to prove it." Ilarion's mouth opened and shut before he got out, "Yes, but that was not this. Can Raziel not wait until we deal with this dragon?" "Valerius, the ruby dragon. No, Raziel cannot. I have kept it too long already," Valerius said. "This is all you and Mephis. You need to keep me safe." "Mephis! Mephis!" Raziel's voice rose up loud and crystal clear. Ilarion's head jerked towards them as if he had heard it too. In fact, he did, as his next words confirmed. "Was that Raziel?" "Mephis, you must keep my Valerius safe," Raziel intoned. "If you do not, then there will be no place safe for you." Ilarion's eyes went unfocused, and then he said in a voice that was and wasn't his own, "I will show the world my strength, and you too shall bow to me, Raziel." There was a belch of black smoke from Raziel's jaws. "Let us see if you can beat Valerius the ruby dragon before you come for me." Then it turned to Caden. "You must come with me, little dragon. I fear without the memory of you that Iolaire will succumb before the battle is over. Will you do this?" Caden nodded even as he lifted off the ground and flew to a spot on Raziel's back where its mighty neck and body met. "Let's do this, Raziel. Let's take down the behemoth." I hope you're enjoying Dragon's Reign so far. Dragon's Reign is free for you to enjoy, but not free for us to make. There is a whole team working with me for audio editing, artwork, graphic design, and custom music. Most YouTube channels and podcasts have sponsors and take ads, but because of the kind of content we make, we can't run ads or get sponsors. Instead, we have other ways you can support me and the team behind this gay romance audiobook. One easy way is to buy or borrow my books from Amazon. They are all gay romance set in alternative worlds with vampires or shifters and other magical beings. You may not know that even if you borrow books with your Kindle Unlimited subscription at Amazon, they are free for you, but they still earn us money. The books are published under the name Ex Aratare, which actually means Raythe in Romanian. And if you love audiobooks, you can get professionally narrated versions of every one of my books on audible.com. The link to my author page is in the description below, as well as to the first book of the series I think you'll really like. Thank you so much for your support. People like you enable me and the team to keep writing these stories of gay romance, magic, monsters, and true love, and producing this very fun podcast for everyone. Thank you.